Julie Unruh, Tom Bergen, Wayne Crandall, Gerald,
They went into what?
thank you, Leslie Epperson, Jason Falk, Chip Hitchcock, Ken Matasic, Paul Maroka, Doug Shelton, Gail Marcus Orland, Stephen Romaniello, Marvin Shaver, Jeremy Cooper, Julie Sasse, Lisa Phillips, Lynn O'Brien, Linda Rosenfield, Kathleen Velo, Renee and Bill Wiggins, Mike Ross, Katie Cooper, Davison, Alice Vinson, Jeannie Davenport, James Shaw, Gail Marcus, oh, she's here twice, Gail Marcus Orland, Stephen Dirks, Kurt Brill, Mike Huffer, Joe Forkin, William Lesh, Susie Moore, McGregor, Janet Berner, and George.
What was
Who
his
did I
George's
leave
last
out?
name?
Who?
George
Rhod
from
Laufer?
Rhod Gallery.
Oh, George Huffman.
Huffman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is an overwhelming list of names when I think about all
You
those
know, I went
people.
back and looked at a lot of the show announcements from past tag shows, and I have some from before I was part of the group, and then
Yeah.
since then, especially
Yeah.
with the British Exchange Group. Yeah, Tag's been to the UK, to the Midlands, Northampton, UK, on an exchange with artists from that part of the country, and they've come here during rodeo, which was very exciting for them. Don't see those in the UK, no, we don't get those. And anyway, it's all because of this man, artist. What did they call the perpetrator at the art museum?
Yeah.
The preparator.
Yeah, there was
Art
somebody
museum.
called from the insurance company looking for the
The
perpetrator.
perpetrator. I remember that. Diane will never let you forget
I
that.
know.
His lovely wife, Diane.
In reality, I'm a perpetrator.
Yeah, obviously.
Perp for short.
That's
So
right.
anyway, so I just want to say thank you,
Hey.
because this is huge. This is what teachers do.
Oh,
This is huge.
yeah. Well,
That's
thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kind of an interesting aspect of how TAG got started, and it was very much like that. It was through friendship. And I had a high school teacher that was absolutely supreme as far as teaching and really relating to the student. His name was Don Reese, and he worked for Sunnyside High School.
I'm writing it right
And-
now. Thank you.
The first day I met him as a freshman in high school stuff, he sort of realized that I was a pretty uncontrolled force and a troublemaker, as much as I could be, but all in good humor and faith. And so over the course of getting through high school and stuff, he reined me in to really refine my art. Every Tuesday at my house for lunch, and I would invite people like Paul, Chip, different people, and we'd come over and have lunch and talk about art and about the insane proposition of trying to make a living as an artist. And it's never been easy. So I got him back into doing art, and he was actually producing prints and different types of paintings and different things that he was working on, and he really started enjoying it. And he was getting ready to re-engage back into art, and then he died. And that really destroyed me. So anyway, I continued getting the artists together, but we moved it to Thursdays because Tuesdays came around too fast. So I said,
That's true.
yeah, before you know, there's another Tuesday, there's another Tuesday. And pretty soon we were more relaxed and stuff about the Thursday and stuff, and the group kept getting bigger and bigger at my house. And George Huffman was a gallery owner downtown. You know, he's one of these Wildcat established galleries that was, you know, self-promoted, and he was right on Broadway and 6th. It's just south of the Gibson grocery store or thing that's downtown. So it was in a good location, and it was a nice space. And so I asked him if he would let us have meetings there each Thursday instead of you know, meeting at my house, which was getting to the point where it was pretty small with all the people that were coming there. And so we decided to do that. And then at one time I talked to George and I said we should think about making this a serious group. And so we asked all the people that if they would like to be in an art group and put on shows. Because George would give us a space that we'd have at least one show a year, other than maybe individual artists getting a show at Raw Gallery. And so it had gone this way for maybe half a year or so. And George was saying, how I can't get enough people to come in, they just walk by and stuff and I don't know what to do. And so I said, George, you have two really big windows that's totally wide open to whatever you want to do. So let's do miniatures and put in the window. So I think we were the first group to actually do miniature shows. And so we had think up a theme at one of our meetings, and then we had work to that theme, and I put in large panels in the window so you had all this hanging space for all these very small pieces and stuff, and started hanging them in that window, and people started stopping and looking in the window and then going in. So it was actually a pretty successful and fortuitous thing to do for the gallery. And so we started having some really very energetic shows and very sort of moving the group up and so people would know about us and stuff. So each month they would do the gallery thing?
I think that started a little bit later, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that Saturday night or
Yeah.
first Saturday.
Yeah,
of the
because
month or
Etherden
something.
Gallery was doing stuff, and
Yeah.
what was the other gallery that was on the corner?
Well, Dinnerware was right there.
Dinnerware, and then there was another one.
Yeah, there was the
That
right
row, the photo gallery was right next door.
Yeah, there was a
Central
whole,
Arts Collection.
Central Arts, yeah. There was a bunch of things that was really starting to happen during that
rents were
time.
cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that was one of the things that I wanted the principal of TAG to be, because we ended up trying to figure out a name for the group, and I said, well, let's call it Thursday Artist Group. And they're going, nah, that sounds like an old knitting group. Or the ladies think, come on. And so somebody said, well, let's just call it Tucson Artist Group. And it might have been Chip that said that.
I don't remember.
Well, we'll tag you with it.
Oh, sure. I'll take credit.
So anyway, TAG was started at that point, and we started making some progress and finding shows around town. So we ended up showing everywhere from Pima to University at the Student Union to any places you can think of that was in Tucson. So we were, we were getting around, and I think the meetings and stuff would actually spur us on to do more and more stuff and be involved in doing some interesting shows. I think one of the fun shows that we did was at Pima College, where we did a theme where we divided the group up into 5 or 6 people apiece. I think
Yeah,
so.
there were 4 groups is all I recall. I don't
Yeah.
remember how many people were in them.
Yeah, and so what would happen is one person in the group would make a piece of art first and hand that off to the next person, and they would do a piece of art responding to their piece, and they would hang those 2 pieces off to the next person, and it would go down the line until all 5 or 6 people had a piece that sort of settled within that range of what the subject was about, or responding to the artist's piece. And so we had 5 different groups, so it covered the gallery pretty good. So we did we do 2 pieces per thing?
You went around twice, generally, yes.
Yeah, so there was actually maybe about 10 pieces in each group, so that's quite a bit of pieces, and it was fun seeing the transition between the first piece and how it worked its way down the line. So that was kind of a fun way of approaching art in response and challenging us to be able to think as artists with each other. So,
Are we talking about like mid-80s or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Are you
So-
still meeting every Thursday with
Yeah,
us?
yeah, and people would actually show up midday from work and stuff downtown, and it was pretty amazing how dedicated they were. I'm surprised some of them didn't get fired, but it worked out pretty good. Trying to think of some of the things that George had done. He did a whole set of prints and stuff with Joe Forkin and stuff, and that inspired a lot of us to start doing printmaking if we had access. And we ended up getting artist in residence at TMA because they had a print shop there. And I was actually the first person that did litho prints at the TMA, and a press that had never been used, a homemade press, which was really nice. So we end up going in on the weekends and stuff and making prints and doing monotypes and different things, mainly monotypes because they were much more easy and accessible to do. And so we end up having shows with monoprints and stuff, and I did a whole huge production of eggs that I did monotypes of, and so the eggs were, yeah, there's examples in there. But it's the whole thing is I would print all day, and sometimes it get frustrating. I would come up not having very much to say for the day, and so I would switch to printing eggs. So I'd print about 9 or 10 eggs in that session. I would come out with some beautiful little prints, and so I had enough to do a huge grid of eggs at Raw Gallery, which I sold quite a bit of, actually. Pretty reasonable price. But anyway, we over the years started looking for places to do shows out of town. I felt that if we really wanted to have some impact, we need to, spread out and reach out to other communities. And so we had a show at the state capitol. We had a show, what's the place in California?
I don't remember.
Funny, I don't either.
Yeah.
But I think it was it in the Bay Area?
Yeah, it should be in somewhere in our literature or
Okay.
background stuff, but I
Thank
don't
you.
recall.
So we're showing in California, then we did another thing in Phoenix at a community gallery and stuff that showed a lot of different people within these houses that they converted into galleries, sort of like this gallery here. They use the spaces to show other.
Was that Mars?
It might have been.
Mars was like an acronym for Movement for Artistic something. It's mostly Hispanic group,
Yeah,
Latina group.
could be. Yeah,
I'm just trying to digging back there in the Rolodex.
yeah. Boy, I tell you, my mind is slowly slipping away. All these memories. But we actually was pretty mobile as far as finding places to show. And then Kathleen Velo decided she was going to go to England. Did she get a grant or something?
Fulbright.
She had
A Fulbright.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got a Fulbright. And she was heading to England to hang out at this university or college. And just glibly I said, well, if you get over there, find us a place to have a show. And by dang, she did. She found us a place, and we got together with a group of teachers and stuff for the college to join in with TAG. And so we put a show together, and we shipped it over there. And that was a real treat, making all the crates and getting everything together for that. But we have a bunch of really diverse people in the group that can do a lot of stuff like that. And that was my job. I worked at TMA for 11 years, building and putting up shows and fabricating things, and then I moved to the U of A at the State Museum, which I did the same thing, only I built complete installations and walls and cases and mounts and things like that. So it was pretty easy for us to put stuff together, but it gets expensive trying to ship things overseas. So on our second show that we had in England, we did the right thing, is we put our art in flat packs and had frames already over there that they put the artwork in the frames.
Yeah, we
And
all
so
got
we-
IKEA frames, which
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can get anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
apparently. They're not quite 16 by 20.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we did the same over here. We end up having frames over here, so when people from England sent their stuff over and we already had our frames here, we just framed their stuff up and hung a show at the drawing studio, which, the drawing studio has helped us for many different things, but that was really a great thing they did
These were the
for the
announcements.
collaborative show with the people from England. And so we'd sort of spanned that thing of being out of country, which was really good. And we're still trying to find venues today in different places And there are a few people in the group that travel and stuff and have connections in different places that are trying to still get us shows in other countries. I'm trying to think of what else is a point that we need to make.
It's really the exhibits that kind of held everybody together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that,
How did everybody find each other? Was it like friends of artists that were in the group that brought other people in, or how did you find all these people?
well, I just started
You were
going
working.
through things that I really appreciated people's art, and I liked who they were. And I think that's really important in establishing a group is, finding somebody that has something to offer the group. And then in that way, the group will have something to offer them. And so it's a symbiotic relationship of sharing stuff. And friendship to me is some of the most important things you can do in life is create friendships. So this group is kind of my dog Reese.
Yeah, people ask me, what is Tucson Artist Group? I said, well, it's Friends of Rhod Laufer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate everybody that's in the group. And everybody's always trying to put out enough to be able to get things together, do things. And when I make a call to a meeting and stuff, they show up, which is surprising a lot of times, I barely showed up today. So, but, when you got to take your blood pressure medicine. Anyway, that's sort of how the group started, is through a mentor into friendships. And so it's been that way ever since. And we've been together for 28 years. And that's a pretty long run for an art group. So,
Only 28 years?
Seems
27 years. I'm sorry.
Seems longer.
Yeah, because it started in 1996.
Did it?
No,
I mean,
before
Art
that.
Gallery was happening way before that.
Was it way before that?
Yeah, it was the
Okay.
80s.
Yeah,
80s,
okay, maybe.
80s.
I
Yeah,
was thinking it started like 84, but I could be wrong.
it could be because once I
Which
started.
makes it like 40 years. But it was
Jesus.
counting. In Rod years, it's only 20.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I would, a shortening of time in my mind.
It's mid-80s, Rod, because you noticed some of those drawings that I was doing. that
Oh,
were
yeah.
so really,
You're working at
Close to your
arid land,
interest.
yeah.
um,
I also started a group in town that's called Pest.
I didn't want to join that one.
As a professional exhibit staffs of Tucson. And so I got all the people from different museums around Tucson. We'd meet on a Wednesday, and they would take their lunch and come to the meetings and stuff, and we would discuss horrid curators.
Oh, no.
No curators allowed in
That's
that
right,
group.
exactly,
I like you.
Well, we got along with the curators because we still had jobs, but
Somehow.
there was times when you just like, so yeah, it's all about making up your mind on what you want on the wall, and the exhibits person is there tapping his foot, going, "It's only about 5 hours to opening." So
Lots of time. That's lots of time.
yeah, really, I can
Change the
remember
whole show.
putting a case together with methyl chloride and stuff one side of it. Whenever people were coming in the door in the ramp at TMA coming down, I'm just like, get everything cleaned up. So yeah, no, it was a trip. So yeah,
It shows at the shanty.
oh yeah,
I can remember that Bill Nugent would
Yeah.
open it up for an art show.
yeah. That's another thing at the drawing center that when it was on 4th Avenue, I went in the place. They give it a show. I went in the place and it was so broken up with windows and doors and stuff on one side. I'm going, there's no way you can get a consistent show up here. So we built an entire wall across one side for that one show. And so it was a really nice hanging space at that time. I don't know whether they tore it back down or not, but anyway, we've done a lot of stuff like that. Come in and what's it called, the Arts Commission. We had a show there at their place, and they didn't have enough wall space for everything, so we built portable walls for them. I mean, real walls that we installed in their space and stuff, that we could have enough space to hang our art and stuff. And it turned out to be a really popular show, and all the people who worked there loved the new walls.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you do to put on a show. It's all about the people in the show and how we can make it good for each other, what we can do. So, would you guys like to say anything? Anything about what you can remember about some of the things that we did and some of the things that happened?
Well, I just remember doing monotype for the very first time with you at TMA when we were artists in residence there, and just all the new opportunities for me since I was a photographer.
Yeah.
Learn all this other new stuff and meet all these other cool people. It was really, for me, it's been a really tremendous experience. And you talk about friends, and that's exactly what it's been. It's been just a real great bunch of friendships.
Yeah, I remember your prints. They were really nice. You did some hand drawn monotypes, which I never thought about at the time, and I really liked that a lot. So yeah, now it was. I think that was another thing that was really good about the group itself when we started. We started challenging artists that were not in the media that we're trying to do the work in, you know, and that really pulled them out of their niche of being either a painter or a photographer or a sculptor, whatever, and made them think about doing another media rather than what they're used to. And I think that really gives people a lot of forethought of, well, I don't necessarily need to just be a painter or sculptor or whatever. I can try other things. So what do you remember, Paul?
I remember doing these underwear prints in that monoprint show.
Oh, okay.
I still have some of them framed up. They were framed up in my bathroom, and my wife made me take them down eventually.
I wonder why.
And I remember the music at the Raw Gallery.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You talking about tidy whities?
No, we're talking silky wilkies.
I mean, it's a recycling. You know, it's a recycling technique.
Yeah.
You just make a monoprint of something that you don't need anymore. It's worn out or whatever, and it makes a cool image. But I remember we had music. I remember playing music at that.
Yeah.
At the gallery openings. Like,
Right.
Yeah, you did some
mandolin.
solo music, and then at one time you and Chuck, who's
Me and
our
Chuck.
our family doctor.
He's the group tag group doctor. Yeah.
He's really a great guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the thing. You end up building friends in different forms. You know, whether musicians or doctors or whatever. You know.
We did that show, other show in Raw, the 2B show, if you remember.
Oh yeah.
Where we did these gigantic
Oh
3
yeah.
by 4 foot
Yeah.
pencil drawings,
Yeah,
which
that
I'll
was.
never do again. And
Yeah,
we
you kept
met-
saying, "Why did you ask me to do this? Why did you want me to do this show?
I
Why?"
just didn't have the space to do it really, but we met Kurt Brill.
Yes.
Kurt Brill was a sculptor in
Yeah.
the middle part of the gallery, and we had stuff.
Yeah, and there was also Dustin Levitt who was in the show too.
Oh, that's right.
So it was
He did these-
Dustin, you, I, and Kurt.
We were all doing these giant, I don't know how large, as big as it.
Yeah, drawings almost 5 feet by 3 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
They were big drawings. So
That wasn't the underwear, was it?
no.
Underwear was 100%.
What happened?
Yeah, I would.
Real life size.
Exactly.
And the problem was, well, the underwear had stories.
Really?
And I started writing the
Underwear
stories
can talk.
behind them. And, no, she didn't like those stories.
Yeah, well. Yeah, you know.
So these weren't just store-bought underwear.
No, they were used till they were no longer useful for their original purpose. And
They really
sometimes they
got
were
used.
found, in weird places or something. And it's the obvious thing to do is ink them up and put them through.
Oh, and he asked.
Are you
Wait,
kidding me?
Rod initiated all of this. I wouldn't have thought of this. But he said, whatever you
Don't
got,
blame
just
me with this.
ink it up, whatever it is, ink it up and see what happens.
Oh, are
Well-
you gonna put him in the next show? Are you gonna put them in the next show?
Underwear show?
Yeah.
I still got 2 of them. I could
Well-
Yeah, he did, he did.
Yeah.
Actually,
You
he
know,
actually took
I
some
would
of
go
the,
see him.
Yeah.
Actually, I have dozens of them in my flat file that I've
Can we
never
call
done
it
anything
collage?
with.
The lock on it.
Can we call it collage?
It's monoprints.
well, he actually did some sculptural pieces of underwear too, and I have one piece.
No,
Yeah.
my memory
You
is
could have
not.
Paul's underwear show.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely stories behind underwear. It's George Huffman that gave me the idea.
Oh, is that right?
Is it?
I wonder
And
if
he
he'd
sold
seen-
them.
Yeah.
Some of them sold.
I
Yeah.
wonder if he'd seen Jim Davis's prints of those great big granny pants.
Oh,
That was the only thing I never bought. You know,
Oh,
you
I'm
never,
sure he did,
Yeah,
yeah.
John McNulty once told me you only regret the things you didn't buy at the time when you could have.
That's right.
And oh my
Yeah.
God! And Jim Davis had a print of just like your granny's big, wonderful underpants,
yeah.
and it was only $200. Why didn't I buy that thing?
Well,
yeah.
Terry, it's long gone.
So
I'm
that's
sure.
where that idea came from.
I don't know. Maybe it's just floating around out there, and lots
It's
of
in the-
people are thinking about prints.
It's
of
in the
underwear.
ether.
Yeah. Well,
But
Anyway.
come from the primitive time when people said, I think I need to put some underwear on. So,
Anyway,
yeah.
we'll give a place to those underwear pieces.
Yeah, I'll bring the ceramic one in.
For historical, well,
Yeah.
maybe we should have a history show. A tag history show, if some of that stuff's still around.
Yeah, I felt like having a reunion show at some
Yeah.
time and point,
Yeah.
and then invite people from wherever to come to Tucson and put a piece in the show, because there's a lot of people that
They're
have
still
come
making
and
art.
gone.
I know, I look at this list and I think, oh my gosh, most of these people, if they're still walking the planet, are making art, whether it's they're writers now and not,
Yeah.
visual artists like
It's true.
Lisa. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
all still at it.
That was one of the issues
It's an
in
addiction.
tag is I could only, manage 20 or a few more, up to 22 or 23 people, because it gets so hard trying to get everybody to get stuff done on time and get everything together and making sure that we had all the stuff worked out and stuff. So over the years, people I would invite, and some people would drop out. So there was a sort of a natural selection of who's in the group, without it being one of those things of, oh, we hate your stuff, get out of here. Not that type of thing. The people we invited were really good artists, were really good, had a good foundation on their philosophical aspect of being an artist and stuff, and I think that's really important, If you're naive enough to think that you're going to make a living as an artist all your life, you need to check in someplace. So, but in reality, doing your art and really doing the best you can is the important part, and enjoying it. And so I think that's why the group has been so successful, is we definitely enjoy the camaraderie. And I'm always trying to tell people to start a group. Just start a group. Don't try to join a group. Just start a group. Start inviting people that you really trust and who you really appreciate as an artist. And start doing art. Start sharing and inspiring each other.
So Rhod, just to, what this do, put in a nutshell, you became a mentor for all these people based on your inspiration from Don Reese, and you carried his
Exactly.
honor. You honored him so much that you carried that forward.
And
So
I
wonder if
still
you have
do.
do you have any artwork from him?
I do.
Because that would fit into the
Yeah.
tag history.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Legacy show, or I don't know what you want to call it, but
Yeah.
people could. I've got all this stuff still in my flat files.
Yeah.
Not doing anything.
Yeah.
You could do a lineage show where you give somebody a picture of a Don Reese piece and they do their takeoff, and the next
Yeah.
person, the next person.
Yeah.
That would be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was
Tag will come in.
he was definitely committed. I mean, he was one person in high school I was blown away by, and he would set up the classes and stuff, and whether it would be doing ceramics or doing drawings or whatever, he would set up a projector, and during the whole class he would project art by artists, famous artists all over the world throughout history, And he had put on music during times too. He had put on classical music, and kids were going, "Yeah, what's that stuff?" Yeah. So, anyway, any questions?
Well, do you remember what year he died?
Boy,
Because that was right
that was
around
before.
after.
That was before TAG was established.
No, it was after.
Was it?
Because I met him at the
Oh,
lunches.
well, that was at my house and stuff. So that was before the start of TAG for Sirius. Because we met a couple of years before TAG actually started.
So there's like an unofficial tag.
Right,
No,
exactly.
well, that was tag. I mean, it was just this lunch. You would invite people
Right,
over for lunch
right.
at your
Tuesday,
house.
the Tuesday Artist Group.
Yeah, it was on Tuesday.
It had to be a tea, really, and that's why it had to be Thursday.
Good thing Tucson started with a T.
I think one of the great things is that it's never been too official.
Yeah, well,
So-
that's
That's
another
actually
thing.
the advantage.
Yes.
You can do anything you want.
Yeah, there was lots of groups in Tucson. They were charging fees, and they were having all this different stuff that you would have to go to as far as rules and regulations within the group. And TAG never had that, and I set that goal of not expecting anything unreasonable from the members of the group. No fees, no have-tos, just participate. So, again, any questions?
I did want to say that I appreciate how candid you were about how difficult it is to be in certain galleries and the curators around town. And I feel neurotic just being so frustrated with, hey, accept my work, or putting in a proposal and
Yeah,
feeling like it's more no than
Oh,
maybe.
absolutely.
And so I find myself so frustrated, and I almost feel like I'm complaining when, and I feel like I don't want to talk to people because I don't want them to think that I'm a complainer.
Well, you got to be proactive and really search out things that you can attain, you know. I and my wife and a good friend, we went to a restaurant and talked them into letting us hang stuff in the restaurant. And so at the time it was photography. And that was very successful for us. We sold a few pieces out of that. And people really liked them a lot. And so we did a couple of other different venues and stuff that we sought out and found people that would appreciate having stuff on their walls in a business. So, you know.
But I think it's important to just be straight up about the fact that rejections overwhelmingly
Oh, yeah. Or
you get rejected overwhelmingly more times than you get accepted.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the territory and something
Yeah.
you have to learn to live with.
Well, it's part of the ratio of how many artists and how many places.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's a real part of it. And, you know, galleries are in it to make money, you know. And,
No, they're not.
Well,
well, yeah.
generally.
This is an exception to the rule.
Yeah,
Yes.
with a few notable exceptions.
Yeah, and we have a lot to really thank Cynthia for doing this, because this is not an easy thing. Hanging shows and taking care of the logistics and making sure that people know, and getting all the tags and all the labels ready and having food there, and it's crazy. It really is crazy. That's why most galleries don't last very long. You know, if you don't have a clientele out there to maintain your gallery, your history before you even start. And I think that's.
I was always told you either had to have a lot of money, like a lot of doctors' wives open galleries,
Exactly.
right? Right.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to worry about it. And
Yeah.
then, or you know, a lot of people that buy art, and you have the artists that they buy.
Exactly.
And I could never do any of those things.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah.
You know, here we are.
Well,
Despite the fact we all married long.
Yes, we all married artists.
I represent that.
Yes, you did, yeah.
well, I have a bragging point. I've been married for 56 years.
Wow.
So, you know.
Time for a change.
Yeah. She hasn't helped me a bit with my art. As a matter of fact, she won't let me get rid of certain arts, and I will, and I would sell anything. I have no pride. So, anyway, as a matter of fact, I just sold a painting off my wall in my house, and then a print that I took off the walls and had in this show that sold. So, you know, I mean, art's important, but you got to move on at times. You got to keep producing and keep evolving and keep really searching yourself for things you need to express yourself. And I call myself a processophile, which means I love process of art, whether it be ceramic process, bronze casting process, drawing process, all the processes it takes to be able to complete a piece of art. Because that takes a talent and a real desire to really experience whatever media it might be, you know. This guy back here that makes the guitars is one example. And he was a mechanic before that. And then he said, I'm going to start making guitars. And I'm going, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And he showed me his first guitar, and I went, yeah. But believe me, the curve exponentiated. He makes the most beautiful guitars. You should look his stuff up online, Cooper Guitars.
I have one. I have the only steel string that he's made.
Yeah. So, definitely. There's so much talent out there. It's remarkable. You know.
I love the overlap of musicians, musician, artist, artist,
Yeah.
musician.
Well, how do we
Paul,
know?
Doug
How do we know
Shelton.
Jeremy Rhod?
We met him through tango.
He was our tango teacher.
Yes.
Well,
And
not
if you-
originally.
Well,
I
yeah.
was just tango dancing and these two weirdos come in to take pictures of my feet.
That's right.
Well, there was that. What was it? Blue Tango. That you-
It was at Ari's.
Yeah.
And then he roped me into teaching Argentine tango at Blue Cafe
Blue
on
Cafe.
Yeah.
University Boulevard.
See.
Wow.
Are you
Rod
still
Mead?
doing
Which
See, I am a
mostly
perpetrator.
did that in exchange for tempura vegetables and boba tea.
Yeah.
I tango for boba.
I would say Rod has a way of making people do stuff that they might not normally do, but they're glad they did.
That's why I'm an instigator.
I love
A perpetrator, that is.
catalyst.
Yeah, there you go. You know, well, I mean, I'm always amazed at how much talent is out there in the world. Because every time I look around, I see something, I go, wow, that's great, you know? And it makes me want to do more. It makes me want to get better at what I do, you know? Because, I mean, your mind will take you wherever you want to go. You just got to be willing to go. So,
Tell us about your violin.
I've been working on the violin for over 15, 16 years.
20.
Oh, 20 years? See, I show my shortening memory.
He was starting his first violin when I was starting my first guitar.
Yeah. And how many guitars have you done?
Come on, like 123.
123 to 1? It's not a good ratio.
Yeah,
Hey,
this
Chuck
year.
asked me about that last night.
Oh, did
We
he?
were playing some music,
Oh,
yeah.
but
I
all
said, Rod
gotta-
will do it. He's doing it. He's
All I
working on
gotta do is do the finish the thing, and then set it up, and it's ready to go. Get it play.
But this year marks 20 years for me building guitars
Is it?
full time. So
Wow.
I did it for 2 years before that as a hobby. So it's been 22 years
Wow.
actually
Yeah.
that you've been working on that.
Absolutely exquisite guitars. I mean, you know, it's kind of funny. When I first come to Tucson, I was only 13 years old. I was 1961, and I had never been in a museum, an art museum. And I went to the U of A Art Museum, and the show there was Andrew Wyeth.
Wow.
So that kind of set the bar.
Set the bar.
So yeah, Tucson's been good to me.
Are you going to play your violin?
I'm gonna try. Whether I'll be able to or not, I don't know.
No, our doctor, Dr. Chuck, is waiting. He's
He's
a
gonna.
he's a violinist.
Yeah.
I play
So
with
does
him,
that.
and he's played at tag. He and I
Yeah.
have played at tag.
Yeah.
shows, but he's asked me about it last night. Where's Rod's? How's Rod's violin coming? I said, well, he's decorating it. You know. He'll be doing that for a long time.
Yeah, you know, it's a way to put things off. Just make it look pretty. So,
This sounds like a really good short story. It needs to be written.
Probably.
22 years.
Yeah.
Rhod's
And
violin.
all the changes gone on in your life. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Yeah. I have a wife that has a very musical family, you know, and I don't even have a thread of musicality in me. And but yet, the violin has always been a love that when I was in the small town of Kentucky, there's a university there, or a college at the time, and they had a Russian violinist come and perform a concert for the school and for the community. But the next week they brought him to our elementary school and have him play a concert for the kids in the cafeteria. And I was blown away.
That was before you went to Germany?
Oh yeah. No, this was when I was about probably in the 4th grade, and I couldn't believe the beauty of what was going on, and I've loved and followed the violin ever since. So therefore, making the violin.
What was the name of the town in Germany that built, like the whole town built violins?
Oh, dang.
Start with M?
Yeah, what was the name of it? It's very famous. It's the equivalent of the Italian town that makes violins, Cremona. It's the German version of Cremona. I'll remember it whenever everybody's walking out the door.
Call me.
So, but yeah, unbelievable place. And the thing is, we got there just at the end of the day when everything was closed. So all I could do is look through the windows and see violins in the window and then in the background and stuff, and the workbenches and stuff. So, but to me, violin is sculpture. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's carving, it's working the shape, doing the purfling and stuff is all part of the design of what a violin is successful at. But yet, to me, it was much more of a sculptural thing that I could put together and do process. It's again, it goes back to the process of making things and doing things and learning to be really proficient at it. So, and I have a really lovely violin. I just need to get the finish on it and get it stringed. That's it. It's pretty much done. So,
Get busy. Back to work.
that sounds like Don Reese. Your lunchtimes you're going to spend in here working on these projects. What? And so that was the one thing he really taught me, is to really work hard on what I was doing. And so he would actually make me come in during lunchtime and work on either drawings or sculptures or whatever I was doing at the time. And it really helped me focus, which is, what an artist should be doing.
So when you finish the violin, will you make a viola and a cello and a double bass?
No, I'll probably make another 5 or 6 violins.
Okay.
And then maybe move on to a cello.
Okay.
I want to be able to get proficient enough so I could probably do it blindfold, but we'll see. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Anyone makes one violin in their life.
Mhm.
That's good.
That's all. That's all you need to do.
Check out the Yaki, Yeah. So, well, if there's no more questions, I may have a bagel.